Gentlemen, welcome to Tables, Ladders, and Podcast, the only podcast that's, um, I'm not really sure. It was a slow week.
Yeah, it
This
was
is episode 128. I am your host, as always, Poit, and joining me on the panel to discuss the week in WWE, we have Wehrman,
Good day. How are you?
Afterlife,
Wait, who are you asking? Anyone.
The universe.
Anyone who feels like answering. But Poit's gonna... I don't know, that was just weird.
Jabba,
Hello, Mr. Poit, and TLP Universe.
and Zevon.
I'm just here for the free drinks.
Hi, how are you people today?
What do you mean, you people?
You know what I mean.
Oh!
I can assure you that none of us are in fact high.
Regardless
At
of
least
the
not
altitude.
Yeah, regardless of the altitude.
Where is Narcissus anyway?
Yeah, speaking of high, where is that guy?
Yeah.
Who knows? Or dares
so yeah.
to
Oh,
dream.
jeez. Guys, a girl looked at me today, and I'm hiding under my bed. God.
That's not
Jeez.
true. He could quite easily podcast from under his bed. I'm sure he's done that before.
So, I am confident in saying that this week did exist as a week in wrestling.
Barely.
I wouldn't be quite so confident, Mr. Poit.
You know, I mean, okay, there wasn't a whole lot that happened, but there wasn't a whole lot that made me want to fucking tear my hair out, so I'll take it as a win.
Which shows you where we are in
time
wrestling
that no
fandom.
content has counted as a win.
It's not a good week in wrestling.
Yeah, I think you're clutching at some increasingly small straws there.
It
Mr.
was a
Poit.
competent, passable week. I think we can at least go with that.
It was like the Gerard Butler movie of professional wrestling.
Wow.
Hey,
that-
300 did okay.
But, like, you're sitting there like, there is a thing happening and people are saying words, and I'm not going to turn it off, but
But
I'm not
fuck.
going to remember anything once it's over.
That's a pretty fair assessment, I think.
Alright, so, before we delve into the week in wrestling proper, Wehrman, do you have any news?
I do have some news. Let's see. Starting off, wrestling legend and longtime critic of WWE, superstar Billy Graham, has officially signed a Legends contract with the company. Graham's had a long-standing love-hate relationship with the McMahons, but in recent years has attempted to make good with them.
I thought you were
Many
gonna say
comment.
He's got a long-standing hate relationship, hasn't attempted to make love with them or something.
No, although
Yeah.
he may have in the past. I don't know.
I'm glad that's not what you were going to say.
That
No,
could be what caused the rift.
I have heard that he's got he's got failing health and he may die at any minute. So
Well, that's when they
This-
reach out to all these people, isn't it?
pretty much. Also, Tatanka has signed a Legends contract. So
His funeral is being planned as we speak.
Isn't he pretty young still? Like
Tatanka, yeah.
I didn't think he was
Well,
super old.
define pretty young.
I don't think I don't think this is a he's going to die soon Legends contract for Tatanka. I think it's just he was from an era that we're pretending was better than now.
Well, imagine if you're an aging legend and you haven't spoken to your doctor in quite a while and you suddenly get a call from WWE offering you a Legends contract. You must think, wait a minute, do they know something I don't? I'd panic. I'd be calling my doctor immediately.
Well, they do have the wrestling equivalent of the Grim Reaper as a permanent fixture on their show, so maybe he knows a thing or two.
I was going to make a dark Ultimate Warrior joke, but yeah, sure.
Yeah. Let's see. On the subject of failing health, Raw's ratings have decreased again. It is down to a 2.32 from last week's 2.46. This once again breaks the record of the lowest rated non-holiday Raw since adopting the 3-hour format, which is a shame because I actually thought this week's Raw was decent.
Well, you know what the cause of that is? No John Cena.
Oh yes, no John Cena
I
or
hope-
Randy Orton.
I
Randy
hope you
Orton,
can
too.
actually feel the withering contempt coming through my camera right now.
I'm getting a sense of it, definitely.
Anyway, rumors are abound that CMLL and New Japan star La Sombra may be signing with WWE. Sombra is a former IWGP Intercontinental Champion. He's been a Triple Crown Champion in the past, and like Rey Mysterio before him, he's been wrestling since age 14. So this is a guy who's been around a good long while.
Then why? Like, I just every time that there's a guy who's like, man, this guy's been awesome for 20 years. Won't he be great in WWE? It's always like, hey, wouldn't this pre-existing work be great for a Tim Burton franchise? No.
Damn.
Every time you hear that, no.
I think it's. Well, I mean, he is a masked luchador, so I assume they're once again hunting for the new Rey Mysterio, just like they tried to do with Sin Cara, which failed miserably, and I guess like they're trying to do with Kalisto, even though they just made Kalisto Sin Cara's tag team partner.
Can't say this? Bitch.
Yeah,
They got Del Rio back, baby. That's
Yeah,
all
they do
the
have
Mexicans
Mexico's
need.
greatest export.
Oh. And they're trying to make a new country out of him. Good for him.
Yeah, I'd say, isn't Mexico's greatest export new voters in California?
Yes, I can attest for that. I'm here. Poit can back me up.
I don't know how accurate
Very
that is,
true.
but it sounds controversial.
I am not going to weigh in on that one way or another.
Okay, on the subject of new signings, let's not turn this into a. Anyway, WWE has signed on a whopping 19 new recruits to the Performance Center. Among these are independent stars Adrienne Reese, aka Athena, Chris Gerard, aka Biff Busick, Rich Swann. Yes, I know.
Well,
You get that out of your
afterlife
system?
choked on his life.
I don't know. What are the rest of the I need to know all the names now.
Most of them are not as like 1930s Looney Tune as Biff Busick.
We'll be the judge of that.
Really? That sounds like a Popeye adversary.
It does, doesn't it? Like, I'm surprised his middle name isn't Stewart, so it's like Biff Stew.
What was Biff's last name in Back to the Future?
Oh God,
Tannen.
Tannen.
Biff Tannen,
Okay.
yes.
Let's see, who else? Rich Swann was the other big indie guy they got. And 7 of the competitors from Tough Enough. They just decided instead of having just 2 winners, it was like, fuck it, let's do 7.
I kind of
Wouldn't
hope
that make
Swan
9?
guy never makes it to the main roster. I don't need to hear, it's a flying swan, Maggle. Really.
That
Yeah.
would be amazing, actually. I want to go to the park with JBL now. I just sit on the bench. It's a swimming dog, Maggle. Yes, it is, John.
I just want to
popcorn.
hear him just say that about anything doing any action.
Exactly.
That's
would
a
be
walking
fantastic.
dog.
So is
you
finishing
imagine-
like the swan dive or something?
Can you imagine trying
Probably,
to watch
I don't
an
know.
Avengers movie with that guy?
I can't
Just
imagine.
imagine trying to explain any mind control plot to JBL.
I don't think I could be in a room with JBL for more than like 5 minutes without trying to kill him.
Well, that's dark.
Well,
Okay, so on that
he's driven
note-
me to that point. Anyway, last week, Naomi began retweeting fans who were lambasting WWE for not pushing her to be Divas Champion. And this week it was apparently Curtis Axel's turn, as he tweeted, quote, "I'm the son of Mr. Perfect, for Christ's sake. The sidelines are no place for a starter." And then he got into it with some commenters who were saying that he's shit.
If Curtis Axel's a starter, like, how can I say this? What
Yeah,
sport
then
are we
who's
in
your
now? I
second
guess-
string? Jesus.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't even think Curtis Axel is bad. Like he's okay.
He's got no character.
He's been
Curtis
horribly
Axel was
misused.
Curtis Axel was the training partner for both The Rock and Brock Lesnar when they made their respective returns.
Okay,
yeah.
but just because he's good in the ring does not mean he's an interesting character on TV.
No, I think he was good at what he was doing, which was having passable matches with people that they're interested in pushing.
He's still got potential if they actually write something for him.
Yeah, I don't
You
know
could
what.
say that about pretty much anyone.
Not
Guys
quite.
actually have characters.
We're going to get to a few people later on that
Yeah.
I don't think you could put in that category, Mr. Point.
Let's see. On the subject of people on Twitter, Nikki Bella tweeted earlier today that she has 2 bulging discs in her neck, which is apparently why she's going to be taking so much time off.
So presumably when she tweeted, "I have 2 bulging," you had to then expand the tweet to see the rest of it.
Yeah. In addition, Figure 4 Online is reporting that she'll also be using time off to attend to a nagging hip injury, so she may be out for a while.
I was so scared that you were about to say make a movie.
You know,
With John Cena.
Oh God. Well, I mean, if it
Fucking
keeps
Murray
both of
Six.
them off camera, fuck it.
For the record, though, WWE itself has been suffering from a nagging hip injury for quite a while now. About 15 years or so, to be
I
precise.
see what you did there.
Because it hasn't been hip, is the joke.
Oh, yeah. On the subject of injured wrestlers, our old friend Randy, who dislocated his shoulder while taking out the garbage at home.
What?
Yeah, that's what happened.
Yes. Basically, Orton's shoulder, he had been working with an injured shoulder for quite a while, and it had become so aggravated that the motion of like picking up a trash bag to put it in the trash can was what finally made it give out.
Yeah, and apparently it's bad enough that he has been put on the shelf indefinitely.
I thought it was like 4 to 6 months.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. According to
Okay.
WWE physician Dr. Steve DeCino, surgery seems imminent, and the recovery time for such a surgery would be 4 to 6 months. This means that on the long end of it, Orton may be out of action through WrestleMania.
Wow.
But is he on the Daniel Bryan level of on the shelf? Because I'm all for that.
You mean never ever coming back ever?
Yes.
What I'm kind of more interested in discussing is what does it say about WWE if and the state of their performers if they're working with injuries so bad that simple household chores can injure them?
What bothers
To
me
be
most-
fair, Randy Orton has a shoulder condition where his shoulder can go in and out of socket for everything. Like, just, it's something he was born with weak ligaments in his shoulders. So that's something he himself has had issues with for years.
And to be fair, they have protected him over the years. This is actually the first time he's tried to carry anything.
Come on.
Anyway, let that gonna sink in for all the kids who didn't get it right away.
In slightly
I think-
less... Sorry?
Go ahead. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
In slightly less bad news, WWE stated that Rusev's torn bicep should only sideline him for about 3 to 4 weeks, meaning that he's probably going to miss Survivor Series, but he should be back in time for TLC.
When is Lana due back?
I have no idea.
Because you would imagine that if it's somewhere in the same ballpark, shall we say, that they'd bring back both of them at the same time.
Yeah, I don't see why they wouldn't.
Yeah, I think we've
What
got
else
to this
happened?
point.
Let's see. This past Saturday on Halloween night, Jerry Lawler was involved in a head-on collision that resulted in his girlfriend Lauren McBride spending nearly 4 hours in the ER. Lawler believes that McBride may have a concussion, but thankfully there were no other serious injuries. So that happened.
No, I don't have any jokes for that one.
Yeah. And just a minor piece of news that I kind of like. One of my favorite wrestlers of all time, Dean Malenko, is going to be inducted into the 2300 Arenas Hall of Fame. You know, the old ECW arena. Apparently they have their own little Hall of Fame for the building itself. And
Good, that's cool.
yeah, and Tommy Dreamer's still doing the House of Hardcore events out of there, and so that's going to be part of the next event, is that he's going to induct the Iceman. So I'm happy for that. It's not as cool as if they actually gave him a WWE Hall of Fame spot,
Oh.
but
They will. It just will be within time. And
yeah. I mean, I guess he's kind of like an honorary, like, since they inducted the Four Horsemen, he was a horseman at one point, so he's kind of there.
Yeah, but aren't they going? Don't you think that they will eventually induct that? The hell was that group called? It was him.
The Radicals.
The Radicals, yeah.
Well, of course, then that Chris
Well, they
Benoit.
can't because Benoit was there.
Yeah, but
And
I mean,
who?
they can still induct Eddie.
Hold on, real
they've
quick.
already
Think
inducted
about it
Eddie.
this way: it would only be Malenko and Perry Saturn even there to be on stage.
Yeah, and
Okay,
Perry Saturn, he hasn't been in that great shape over the last few years.
So the only thing that could really happen is Perry Saturn walking up with a mop.
I would actually pay to
I
see
would
that.
love for like everyone is wearing suits and everything because it's this prestigious event, and then
Including the
and he comes out with Moppy with a tuxedo on.
That would be amazing.
You know what's sad? They forced him to do the mop thing as punishment for being a dick, and it's like the one thing that he's really known for.
His time in ECW was really good.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
part of the
If you
Eliminator.
watched it.
Yeah,
his-
exactly.
And his feud with Jericho in WCW, where like he lost a match where he was forced to wear a dress for a year.
Yeah.
I have never heard of that.
It happened.
I believe you so much. I don't. I need no evidence of this whatsoever.
As soon as you said WCW, it was believed.
Nothing to do with a poll.
So I have a couple WrestleMania-related news items.
Ooh.
Okay.
So for the recently released WrestleMania poster, listeners who look closely at The Undertaker on the poster may notice that he has some rather badly photoshopped hair. They basically just took the image of Undertaker from when he had the really short mohawk and just added hair onto it.
Oh.
Oh, I gotta look this up. This is hilarious.
Why didn't they just use a newer picture of The Undertaker?
I don't know.
I mean, it's not like he hasn't been available.
I also like that you refer to it as a recently released WrestleMania poster.
What the hell?
And then fired it.
Oh,
That
wow,
looks-
that looks horrendous.
Java, can you put that on screen for everybody to see how
That looks...
god awful that is?
That's
I
not even the
suppose
hair
I
he has
probably
now.
can.
That looks worse than like a character rendering for their video game.
Okay. I'm getting that ready if you've got any other news to break into while I'm...
I do have another bit of news. It was, let's see, WWE.com released, I believe today, that the mayors of Santa Clara and San Jose announced that WrestleMania 31 generated $139 million in economic impact for the region this past March.
Hey.
This included, let's see, $22 million on hotels and accommodations and over $6 million just at restaurants.
Hey guys, congratulations on being like 1,500 of that.
Woo!
Yeah, we contributed.
And people can see that image now. That is quite terrible, isn't it?
That is horrendous. Also, I love... Okay, going down the list, you've got John Cena, Roman Reigns, The Undertaker, Kofi Kingston.
Yeah, Kofi Kingston's right now in the spot previously inhabited by Mark Henry.
Yeah, there's something
so
weird
they
going on
swapped
at end.
one black guy out for another.
Kofi's chest definitely stands out as well as the Undertaker's
that
head,
looks
doesn't it?
really weird. They must have done something to that too.
Anyways, so going further into the story, this marks apparently the second largest economic impact in WrestleMania history and the fourth consecutive year that it's generated more than $100 million.
What's the number one?
The article does not say.
Boo.
And Point didn't bother to look it up.
If it's not all contained in one article, we ain't gonna report it. So what else we got?
That is all the news items that I have.
Did we run through the entire Wehrman barrage of news for this week as well?
Yep, I've said everything I wanted to say.
He's got some good news.
Right, shall we dig straight into the meat then?
I like
If everyone's ready, if everyone
What
has
little meat
enough
there
saliva
was.
flowing. So yeah, there wasn't a huge amount of meat. We actually got some meat from 2 weeks in the future though, because
Ooh,
Survivor Series.
future meat.
Back to the meat.
So what better way to sell us on Survivor Series than to just give us Survivor Series?
Just hold on a second. I need for everyone to just appreciate the fact that a human being intentionally just said, "We just got some meat from 2 weeks in the future."
Yes.
That was an entirely serious statement that you tried to just brush aside real fast, and I don't think that's fair.
Well, it makes sense. If you
I'm sorry. Afterlife, are you not a fan of metaphorical future meat?
Let's
that's
have this scenario laid out here. So you've got, let's say it's a cow. It's been slaughtered. The carcass is being transported somewhere, and let's say it takes 2 weeks to get from carcass onto the supermarket shelf for our consumption. Okay. So let's say that while it's on the truck, we hijack the truck, take the meat from it, and then just start eating it on the side of the road. That's essentially what we had on Monday Night Raw this week.
I like the time travel explanation much better.
Okay, we had some meat that travelled back in time 2 weeks.
Yeah, just like a hamburger fell through a wormhole or something.
Let's just go with that. So we had a match that we should have had in 2 weeks' time.
Where did the meat come from?
Point, you say that
The
so often, it's
future!
getting old.
We already established it. It came from the future.
In fact, let's just give it some more time to get here.
I'm going to change the name of this episode to "Where Did the Meat Come From" in all caps, by the way. So, it had about as much build-up as most Survivor Series matches do nowadays. But how do we feel about them doing this? It's the same thing when they have to give you a taste of the Royal Rumble. Here, let's have a 20-man over the top rope battle.
But I
royal
mean,
at
like,
the end
does
of
this
Raw.
mean they're just not gonna do a Survivor Series match?
Well,
Not.
Wade
Well,
Barrett
to be fair,
acted
there's
at the-
always like the big epic brawl Royal Rumble that happens 1 week before the Royal Rumble happens because everybody's got to be in the ring at the same time.
Right, but
that
a
week.
taste of the Royal Rumble
We're just
is
going to
not
give you a
the
sniff.
entire hour-long Royal Rumble.
Normally they do have 2 Survivor Series matches, though. So I imagine they're going to have at least one Divas Survivor Series match. And then they'll probably give us one with Team Barrett versus Team whoever Barrett feels like feuding with.
I guess
Do they
Adrian Neville.
even have 10 women on the main roster?
Nope.
Maybe.
Okay,
That's why
I
it
mean,
was 3 teams of 3.
Hey,
And then
okay, I
Daddy
guess
was
it's
off
like
TV
Natalia.
for a month.
was it a Survivor Series match when we got that incredible Divas full ring?
no, that was a Raw
clothesline?
match.
Oh, is that all?
Yeah, that was
Okay.
just
Yeah, I
one
want to
fall
say
match.
that was like on a Christmas episode of Raw or some shit like that.
I believe that was a 6 versus 6 single fall match.
That's stupid.
Yeah. Yeah,
Is
it
that
was.
a thing? Can I play that on my video game?
Does
Probably.
anyone feel more excited for Survivor Series having seen a Survivor Series match 2 weeks before, or not?
Maybe. Because what this means is one of two things. Either they did this match to stir up interest in things because the ratings have been slipping, and we will not get. We are guaranteed a different main event Survivor Series match.
Because
Or-
2 of those people will be in another match, and so it'll just be those 8 and 2 other people.
You know what? You know what I think is going to happen for the big Survivor Series match? I think we're going to get, within the next couple of weeks, we're going to have Undertaker and Kane somehow, like, slip away from Bray Wyatt's kidnapping or whatever, and you'll have the Brothers of Destruction against the entire Wyatt family in, like, a 4-on-2, like, Survivor Series handicap match.
But Undertaker and Kane have been drained of their powers. There's no way they could beat the Wyatt family.
Right, but then they'll get magical powers from the fans or some shit like that.
The best part would be if they did a traditional 4-on-4 or 5-on-5, if it was like Undertaker Kane, and for some god awful reason like the APA versus the entire Wyatt family.
It'll be the Usos.
If they could bring back anyone
fuck's sake,
spooky
no one
from the
wants them
past,
there.
like Gangrel.
Well, see, I was really hoping. I was hoping that it would be the Wyatts just kind of let us know. Oh, hey, also we kidnapped and brainwashed Adam Rose, and so he's been reborn as Leo Kruger.
Well,
So now you've got
that would
insane
make
Leo
sense.
Kruger looking motherfucker, and then you could have Taker and Kane bring back Gangrel for one night, and fucking like
Naked
Mideon or
Mideon.
some shit. Like, I really wish this is one of those moments where you get excited and you're like, fuck, I wish Viscera wasn't dead, because he would be perfect to bring in for this. To get the Ministry versus the Wyatts would be pretty fucking sweet.
So it will end up being Mark Henry, Undertaker, Corporate Kane, and let's
Actually,
Oh, go ahead.
oh no, I was just trying to think like who the fourth guy would be. I was
Or-
gonna say, oh, go ahead.
Kane and J&J Security.
Oh my god, that would be
Just did it.
great. If he hadn't just been injured, probably and taken out of action forever, I was going to say Sting.
Sting would
Yeah.
be good. Kane, it would technically make sense for Taker and Kane to show up and then bring out Daniel Bryan, because Kane would trust him, and then you would have
And
Taker
Mark
bring
Henry,
out-
just because he's got nothing going on. That's the other person I needed.
Well, I think it's
Taker brings out Mordecai.
So,
Oh, God.
Jesus Christ.
so what do you guys think of the merits, just in general, of using the? Oh, by the way, the Wyatts brainwashed him and kidnapped him, as an excuse to just repackage anybody.
I think that would be
necessarily
great.
like it. I want it to be a storyline. I would want someone on that bottom tier to talk about how their career is lost and they don't know what to do, and Bray offers them a way and they sign up.
as long as it doesn't just lead to them coming back and offering Stephanie their monster, essentially.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
That's
Like,
all I'm
actually,
concerned with.
actually
The thing is,
Stone
like,
Cold.
the only way that works is if they have, if they get results out of it. So if, like, Curtis Axel or Damian Sandow offers himself to Bray Wyatt, and then they come back as, like, themselves but in a jumpsuit, then they have to actually start winning matches. And that's something WWE just doesn't want to do. If you are a lower card guy, you never get to win.
yeah, but I mean, if you take Leo Kruger, in fact, you could have him. We're watching him change, or maybe we don't even see him grow out his hair and his Van Dyke again. But we have, when he comes back, we have Bray keeps the original two as his personal henchmen, and then he sets out Braun and you know him as Adam Rose, but I have christened him of my own, Leo Kruger, or whatever the fuck name they want to give him. And
Steve
then
Williams.
he makes them the Wyatt Boys tag team, so that they can be dominant in their field.
Sure.
Why the hell not?
I would want it to be a story, not just, hey, that's Adam Rose. I just know that, even though he looks entirely fucking different. Because I want the transformation to be something that you can't just tell. There has to be that change.
Okay, guys, our next point. I'm going to decide how excited each of you are based on your response to this, by the way. So are you ready to join in? A little bit of interaction here. So when I say oos, you say...
Oh.
Oh.
Don't match anymore!
Okay, I think we've successfully gauged how excited each of us are with that. So, Mr. Poit, do you want to tell us why you're so excited for the return of the Usos, since you're their sole supporter?
Actually, Afterlife said it. They're actually they're back. They're wearing different colors. You can actually fucking tell them apart.
But
Wait, you mean different colors like John Cena?
but
No,
there is a problem.
Yes,
There
yes,
is a
Afterlife.
problem.
Go on.
One of them is red, and one of them is blue.
Uh-huh.
The
No
red
twin
one
magic.
is J.
Is that correct? I didn't really notice which one was blue and which was red.
Really?
It's okay. Neither did JBL when they had to correct his ass.
Really,
Like, they're even color-coded and you can't tell them
that
apart.
J would
Jesus
be in the
Christ.
blue.
Yes, you would think it would be blue J.
Blue J,
But
yeah.
no, they just fucking right in your face every time they do something that's almost good for you, and they go, nope, you're gonna want to say who's the blue one, who's the red, oh, blue's the J. Nah, fuck it, it's wrong every time. You're just gonna do it because they're assholes for no reason.
Plus, the term Blue Jimmy sounds like something really dirty.
It sounds
We're
like
going to have to go on another Urban Dictionary hunt.
You know what? I'm fine with that. Let's do it.
Oh yeah, did we ever get any results on an Urban Dictionary definition for haunted trombone?
I don't think so.
Nobody submitted one, so we're going to have to just come up with our own, I think.
Come on, guys.
All right, everybody, give a haunted trombone definition. Go.
And also now a definition for Blue Jimmy.
Apparently, Blue Jimmy is a 5-piece American folk rock band in Rochester, New York.
Oh, well, there you
Okay,
go.
so if anyone says, can I give you the blue Jimmy? They want to put you on a private party with that
Yeah, you
particular
gotta be like,
band.
I don't know, I think their old albums were a little better. Now they really sold out once they left Rochester.
The haunted trombone is still up for grabs, though, as the saying goes.
What? There's a saying about that?
That was the same.
There will be soon. So anyone else have anything to add on the Usos?
They're the Usos.
they're
What do you want me to
flying?
say?
mean,
I did have a horrible thought that when that when they like revealed them, and I was like, wait a second, did they intentionally not tell us who he was gathering because they're all gonna be cousins? Like I was waiting for The Rock and fucking.
What if that? Holy shit! The headlines. If the fifth person was Screw Dean Ambrose, The Rock came out.
That would be hilarious. Ambrose
And
is
then
backstage, is like, what
It's
the hell,
awesome.
man?
And then Dean Ambrose then goes up to Reigns. Well, I thought we were blood, man. And then Reigns just looks at all his cousins like, yeah, not really. These guys are blood. And then you got an
got
instant feud
thicker
there.
hair.
So
That would be a great way to turn Roman Reigns heel, like make him just like constantly riding on the Rock's coattails. So you
I
like
can't
him?
imagine
He's a
it would
movie
get-
star.
I can't imagine how annoying it would get to have a character on the roster constantly telling everyone about the famous person he or she is related to.
yeah, that's no one's ever done that before, certainly.
Can't imagine.
So
Curtis Axel.
now we've already touched on this a little bit, but Bray Wyatt did actually say that he has successfully harvested the souls of 2 people. At this point, is it really not time to get the police involved?
When you say you harvest anything from a person, I'm seeing sickles and shit and lots of blood.
A bathtub
Seems like
full of
they're
ice.
dead.
He kidnapped 2 people and admitted to harvesting parts of them.
Yeah, like,
Yeah, they're dead,
he
right?
probably killed them. Yeah.
One
Okay.
Undertaker's kidney on the black market of eBay.
Maybe that's what
Is
he did.
there
Maybe he
anything-
stitched their organs into his body.
Is there actually anything illegal about taking something metaphysical from someone?
No, but there is about kidnapping.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
that
I mean, there's
happened,
always that.
so it's okay.
And harvesting. The word harvest. I can't emphasize this enough. Even if he hasn't killed them yet, he's harvesting people.
Well, I don't know, because technically the Undertaker is a ginger, and there is question marks over whether those people actually have souls to begin with.
The
Also,
best part
he-
next week, he
He's
comes out.
only,
The Undertaker
only a
had no soul. I harvested nothing.
Okay. Also, okay, I think, all right, since, Bray Wyatt demonstrated his spooky new powers by giving some cues to the pyro guy, I
Mhm.
want to see them do a thing like backstage of showing like how Bray Wyatt got his horrifying new dark powers, and it's just like him making the Undertaker show him how to use the pyro booth.
Well, this is
Come on,
this is
man!
gross.
What does this switch do?
If you tell him to do this, 3 lines of pyro will come from the ring to the announcer's table.
Or if they cut to like the pyrotechnician and he's just got a really long beard and he's wearing really filthy clothes all of a sudden.
That would be pretty funny. Like the Wyatt family just takes over the production truck.
Regardless
I was
of any
imagining-
humor from this, I do feel the demystifying aspect of it would not make it worth
Yeah.
it.
Well,
I
okay.
keep envisioning Taker and Kane just like chained in a cabin somewhere, and like they're watching this segment on television, and when Bray is all like, "I summon the thunder, I call forth the lightning," I just see Kane like, "All right, now he's gonna call up the fire. He's gonna call up the fire, dude." Dude. And then Taker just like, it's okay, he probably just forgot. He's like, no, man, he took my fucking firepower. Where's the fucking firepower, man? He's like, dude, you probably just forgot. It's no big deal.
Yeah, okay. What I noticed, is it me or does the Undertaker's lightning effect look worse with every time it shows up? Like I remember like way back in like '98 when Kane was shooting lightning and lighting people on fire, it actually looked halfway decent.
Well, to be fair, they were probably using the same effects back then, but it wasn't in high definition.
Yeah, like nowadays, like it's so blatantly like somebody rotoscoping in some lightning bolts in After Effects.
Yeah,
It's really bad.
well, but wasn't there like the one WrestleMania, one of Taker's lightning cables to the ring snapped and like smacked a fan in the face?
Oof. Well, that
And then
might be
they
why
like-
they don't do it anymore.
Yeah, there was like an 8-month drawn-out court case about it that they kept really quiet because Undertaker basically lightning struck a fan in the face.
How awesome would that be, though, if you were that fan?
Why don't they make that a story? Holy shit! It's like the Undertaker just shocked a random guy with lightning.
The Undertaker's lightning powers are currently held up in litigation.
That's why they look so shitty, because he's not allowed!
They're after mainstream media attention. Imagine that.
Yeah.
They could brag about that for hours on Raw.
Okay, in all seriousness, the whole point of this is that it's supposed to be that Bray Wyatt is now more powerful and more unstoppable than ever, right?
Which
But he was already completely stoppable.
Well,
Yes,
no,
so
okay,
he might win a
that's what I
match.
mean. Like, if this work, like, if they want this to work and it's not what I think it is, and they're just feeding Bray Wyatt to Undertaker because it's the Undertaker's 25th anniversary, if they want this to work, they have to have like a moment where you can you can plainly see that Wyatt is now like indestructible, and not just by doing the pyrotechnics. Like they have to have a match where like fucking Big Show comes out, right? And he lays Bray Wyatt out with like the knockout punch, and then Bray Wyatt just pops right back up, does like the creepy spider crawl.
I was
He's
going to
gotta
say
do the
this.
sit-up.
Yeah, well, either like there has to be a moment where he takes a move that should absolutely destroy him, and he just completely shrugs it off, and you just go, "Oh no!" Like that has to happen if Bray Wyatt is going to gain anything from this. As it is, I think all it is he's going to have the Undertaker's spooky powers, but then like the WWE universe is like the power was inside the Undertaker all along, and so he'll be able to beat Bray Wyatt even without his magic powers.
What kind of lame power is Hart anyway?
My
This is no time for Captain Planet bullshit.
the cynic in me wants to point out that we've been
Isn't that all of
saying
you?
if if Bray is going to capitalize on this at all for like 2 years.
Yeah, I'd say
So-
basically ever since Bray Wyatt showed up. But, I mean, you can't do the Bray Wyatt match where he gets his ass kicked and then wins by somebody interfering or a TV exploding in someone's face. He has to absolutely destroy someone of consequence, not just fucking R-Truth again.
Well, that'd be a start. So, before we move on to the next topic,
I'm sorry. Are you saying that our truth has no consequences?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, no, because Consequences is hanging out with Big E and fucking...
Hey, that's what you did there.
so
Thanks.
we've got a little bit of audience interaction now because long-time listener and now viewer Owen Brown. He's
I
been
see our only listener and viewer, you mean?
he's one of the Legion, let's say, but he's a very active member of the TLP universe. So he's been commenting away, and let's see.
Legion a multiple? Like, is that a multiple version of the word?
He's been complimenting Mr. Afterlife's background and the puppet that's therein. And also, he doesn't really give any context to this comment, but it could really apply to any point in the podcast. He just says, lol jabber right now. So, that could have been anything I said, really. He also hopes that John Cena gets a paper cut that takes him out for 6 to 8 months. Now, the only way I could think that that would be possible would be if he was maybe, like, seriously diabetic or something.
Yeah, is it like a paper cut across his carotid artery or something?
It could always be very haphazardly opening a letter from Ted Kaczynski.
Maybe he got a paper
Wow.
cut. He got a paper cut from a piece of paper that was cut with kind of, you know, like those zigzag kind of scissors.
Yeah.
That could take you out for quite a while.
Mm.
Well, maybe not, but whatever. He also then just leaves a question mark. You really need to put some context into these comments, Owen.
Hell, for all we know, he could end up being, wake up in a basement somewhere with his body sewn to a minor villain from Pete and Pete. I'm pretty
Wow.
sure anyone gets that, it's going to be Wehrman. And
Wow, man.
He also says, God damn it, Afterlife, are you reading my mind? I was about to say Mordecai.
well,
So see, it was a great idea.
Perfect. Or, hey, who was that guy who was advertised for like 3 weeks to be the next big opponent for The Undertaker and then just never showed up?
Nathan Jones?
No, not Nathan Jones. He was
The
on
guy
TV
who
for a
kind of
while.
had, he was cutting promos that were kind of like Bray Wyatt's.
Yeah, they were like if Bray Wyatt wore a leather jacket and had a British accent.
Yeah, I remember who you're talking about. I don't remember his name. I would like to think that that was like the previous host for the Bray Wyatt Demon before it got into Husky Harris.
I'd like to see the corporate Bray Wyatt, actually. That would be interesting.
No, you really don't.
It's corporate Wyatt, Michael.
So, our next talking point. So, Kevin Owens, you may have noticed that on this week's Raw, he was promised a world title match at WrestleMania by Seth Rollins. Now, whether Rollins has the power to actually grant him that match is another matter. But I think we can agree he's not going to get the match. But do we think he's not going to get the match because they're just going to forget that that conversation ever happened? Or do we think that maybe it'll lead to a storyline where Owens confronts Rollins about not giving him what he deserves and then they get into a feud over it?
In a perfect world, this would set up a post-WrestleMania feud between Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens.
I actually think if there's going to be a feud out of it, it will be a post-WrestleMania feud.
Yeah, it'll be like, I think if Seth Rollins between now and WrestleMania turns face, or at least tweener, to be whether they're doing his match with Triple H is what I think they're building towards. Or if they go ahead and do the Shield triple threat match or whatever the hell. If he turns out to be anything other than the sniveling chicken shit moron who sometimes has good ideas and sometimes is totally surprised that Kane booked Kane in a match, then yes, I think a heel Kevin Owens gunning for Seth Rollins because, hey, you promised me, and then you back down on that would be a pretty cool feud. Realistically, though, they're going to drop this. They're going to completely forget this happened if they haven't already forgotten about it.
Very likely. I think they're probably just going to ignore that conversation about
Because it wasn't even a case of, hey, if we win, I'll give you a title match at Mania. It was just, hey, join my team for tonight, and wouldn't a title match be awesome?
Or maybe in like 4 years' time, they'll be looking for 2 Survivor Series captains, and they'll remind us, well, when Seth Rollins was champion 4 years ago, he said Kevin Owens could have a shot, and he's never forgotten about it, and now that's why they're going to face off as team captains.
And then...
That'd be the worst build of all time. 4
No,
years ago
I don't
on
know.
Raw,
the worst
one
would be,
cutscene.
there's been a
The
couple involving
handshake.
Randy Orton that were worse than that.
the handshake will always be remembered as the worst build to anything.
The handshake that made Kane human.
I can't. You know what? I can't right now. Just move on to the next fucking
He
topic.
can't.
Okay, we could do an entire podcast on that. We'll do that after the Cage Door special. So, next up, Cesaro. Are they getting our hopes up again? Is this an actual push he's going to get now after beating The Miz quite decisively and being allowed to do quite a lot of rotations on his swing for a change? Or is he just being temporarily built up again so that he can then be fed to someone?
I don't know, like, so this match came after Kevin Owens beat Ziggler and then was offered a spot on Team Rollins for the traditional Survivor Series elimination match. So I assume this was just to set up like a Cesaro win, so that Cesaro would then be offered a place on Team Reigns, and then that never happened.
You
It
know,
was just a weird thing to happen at all, wasn't it?
I also
I mean,
assumed that
yeah.
when Cesaro was coming out for a match, like, oh, it's time for Cesaro's weekly loss. And then The Miz comes out, and all of my expectations just went out the window.
And it was like the cat and the buttered toast being taped back to back. You just didn't know what was going to happen.
And then
Precisely.
Stardust and his henchmen were in the crowd specifically to watch that one match.
Yeah,
Even
with
though
like
aren't they out there
an
every
old-timey
week in
looking
general?
glass and all this shit.
Oh my God! By the way, can we talk about that for a minute?
That was amazing.
I thought JBL was gonna have a goddamn stroke. I thought he was having a stroke.
He couldn't remember what a telescope is. He kept calling it a fucking periscope because
And he couldn't
Stardust
say
is in a
it.
submarine, apparently.
A space
that-
submarine.
would be amazing.
Yeah, if he
Just
had an
have
old-timey
a
Stardust-themed
It's a
submarine, like fucking like the Penguin from the Batman movie.
Uh-huh.
I'm
If
suddenly imagining Stardust and the Ascension crammed into a little bathysphere that's like just next to the ring for no reason.
If in kayfabe it was under the ring and a little periscope popped up through the ring apron now and then, and just popped around, and then they had a camera in there as well so you could see that. That would be quite fun.
That would rule. Like the periscope comes up and then it like cuts into the Titantron to them like having this huge evil lair underneath the ring.
Okay, let's be honest, Werman. It would not rule. It would be utterly stupid, but in a
Yes!
funny way.
And that's
But-
why it
but
would
hang
rule.
on.
Are you kidding me?
Isn't Stardust being insane slightly off to the side still one of the best things about any given episode of Raw?
If he was just doing really loud plotting directly under the ring with a periscope looking up at the guy he's feuding with standing in the ring, he's just like, what the hell? And then he lifts up the ring apron and just sees their entire... I think that would be quite funny. But it ain't gonna happen. We just wildly speculate so much on this show.
It's true.
Well, that's because we have to find ways to make it entertaining, and usually it's us doing it.
Yeah, WWE don't really provide us with enough ammo, so we have to kind of build our own sometimes, don't we? So
Yeah.
let's
About once a week.
let's move on to our next talking point then. So the United States Championship, which was built up apparently by John Cena over these last few months. Does anyone, particularly the commentators or the universe, care about the title anymore now that Cena's not holding it? So was the whole plan to legitimize that title a failure?
Well,
Or
look
not.
who they put it on. They
You
put it
mean
on a guy
Mexico's
who...
greatest export?
We've already made that joke. But, okay. Del
Listen.
Rio is a fine worker, but nobody gives a shit about him. No one has ever given a shit about him. Like, he's one of those guys that sort of like WWE 2010 group of people who is just absolute anathema to you giving a shit about them. Like him and Sheamus and Wade Barrett and everyone else from that particular time period, who as soon as he comes out, you just tune out.
You know what? Slap a mask on the guy, give him a different fucking character, and keep him with a fucking mouth. And that's another thing. What is the point of putting him with a crowd infuriating manager like Zeb Coulter, and then having Zeb do the talking and say, hey, but don't take my word for it. Let him talk anyway very poorly for 10 seconds and ruin everything I just set up. What the fuck is the point?
Can you imagine if the Paul Heyman sermon, like where Brock Lesnar is standing there just going like, what? Yeah, listen to Paul Heyman. Like if your weekly Paul Heyman promo ended with him handing the mic over to Brock Lesnar and watching him fumble helplessly.
It'd be hilarious, but also maddening.
I mean,
Exactly.
it'd be okay if you had Zeb cutting a really long promo and then he gives the mic to Del Rio and Del Rio has a big build-up and then he just goes, see, and then hands it back to him. That would be good.
Believe that.
And what am I supposed to feel? Because they're like, the U.S. is great, but so is Mexico, and I'm like,
But not Canada.
Okay, then they're like, but Canadians are fucking shitheads, and you're like, well, but why? What is that? What does it mean?
Well, it bridges into another talking point that the swag man is officially back, and he seems to be a little bit suspicious about their motives.
I
So
love that, like, we're supposed to cheer Jack Swagger, I guess, for being disappointed that his racist old mentor is now accepting of another culture.
But is that what's going on, though? Or does he just think that they've got something up their sleeve that doesn't involve him and he just feels left out?
But here's the weird thing about that was when he's like, oh, and you and Alberto Del Rio, and then the camera's like, ba-na-na-na, and then there's Del Rio there too, and then Del Rio's all like, you stay away from him, he is mine now. And I'm like, are you dating? What are you people doing? What the fuck is going on?
That should be Alberto Del Rio's gimmick.
Sense.
That he's dating Zeb Coulter?
No, okay, that he, like, steals your manager away from you, like, seduces them away.
Yes, he's a fucking managerial incubus.
Yes!
If that were his gimmick,
Could
that'd
you
be
imagine, like,
amazing.
Can you imagine Brock Lesnar's reaction if, like, Del Rio just comes out and is like, Paul is mine now. He cannot resist my charms.
If Paul Heyman were standing there totally normal telling Brock, listen, we've had a great career together, you'll be fine without me, but there's just something I feel like I've got to move on. And the whole time, you've just got Del Rio behind him with his arms on him, rubbing his chest from behind.
That's pretty much what he was doing to Zeb, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly! He was basically, get your own man, I have him now. He is with me. Step aside. It was just fucking like, it was very Billy and Chuck. Very
That would
Billy
be
and
interesting,
Chuck.
though, if no one could resist Del Rio's charms, but he only used those charms on people that you wouldn't expect him to. That would be an interesting gimmick. But
Like Byron Saxton suddenly just becomes, like, the world's biggest Del Rio fan.
But it could lead to one of the best fucking matches ever because Del Rio really puts on great matches when he knows what he's doing. when he wants to, he puts on a hell of a good match. And Goldust is ready to come back. And if there's anyone who won't want Del Rio getting, pervy with people, because that's fucking my territory, man.
Yeah, like the undisputed king / queen of getting pervy with people.
So are you suggesting that Stardust returns to feud with Del Rio in a perv off?
Yes.
Goldust
Only one person can make people creepy around here.
Perv on a pole match.
But whose pole?
Precisely.
Oh, God. Perv Nation.
What's our next talking point?
Hashtag. So,
Let's dwell on Pervomania for a little bit.
So, we had a slight problem at the beginning of Raw this week, and that was that Roman Reigns was allowed to talk for an extended period of time. And was anyone tempted to change the channel and then realised, I've got a podcast to do, I can't really skip this episode?
Why do they keep doing this? Like, they have to know this guy isn't... He's not his cousin. He never will be. I mean, even when he's not painfully bad, he's not anywhere good enough to carry a segment on his own. Fucking stop it!
He started his promo by saying that Seth Rollins is both a brown noser and an ass kisser. And I'm like, you are stupid and dumb. What? That's the same thing. Those words mean the same thing.
Essentially, yes. I don't think we really want to get into the intricacies of why there might be differences between the two. But for all intents and purposes, then yes.
Yes.
Roman Reigns was a buffoon. And the person who wrote his promo, I don't know what they were thinking. If someone's paid to write these things, and clearly Roman doesn't come up with his own promos. Because when he's just talking naturally, he's usually okay. But when he's actually given a promo to do, and he has to remember all those words.
Yeah, you can actually see him remembering his lines, I've found. Like, he'll put out 2 or 3 lines, and then he'll stop and, like, laugh to himself, and it's like, you didn't tell a joke, that it wasn't a punchline, you're not building up... Oh, okay, there's the rest of your thought.
Or he does the whole stop and look out to the crowd, even though there's no chant going on.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's got a couple of tricks in there that he's obviously figured out because the lines don't just flow to him very easily in that brain of his.
He should take the Dusty Rhodes approach of doing promos. By that I mean the current Dusty Rhodes, by never saying anything ever again.
Uh-huh. Well, look, and that's what confuses me. WWF used to have a fuck ton of managers. And they would have, like Paul Heyman could have, a tag team and 3 or 4 singles guys that don't have anything to do with each other except that he represents all of them. So why can't Paul Heyman represent Brock Lesnar once a fucking month, but also come out and be like, all right, Roman, you're strong, you'll win, let me tell them. It has nothing to do with Brock Lesnar. Just let people who need managers have managers.
They've got plenty of people on the roster that can talk that they're not using in any capacity at all that could become managers quite easily. They just don't like that role anymore for some reason.
And you've got people, fucking... what was Kali's cousin's name? Ranjin? Ranjin, everyone, when you see Ranjin, you know he's a manager. Bring him back, let him manage people. Let Heyman have 2 or 3 more people. There are people who need help.
Bring back Sonny Ono and have him manage for Rey Mysterio.
Oh, wow.
And I will lose my goddamn mind and no one else will get it.
Okay, Ranjin Singh is apparently the lead writer for WWE.
What?
I just looked him up on Wikipedia.
Then how does he... How is he not aware of the problem that he is causing?
Huh.
Well, that's
He is currently signed to WWE, where he works as the lead writer.
that certainly puts a cat amongst the pigeons on TLP.
That is troubling news. That is genuinely troubling.
Any other news, Mr. Point? Like, is Sonny Ono like the head of the catering department or something?
Okay, actually, according to an article from last September, Ranjit Singh is the showrunner. I'm not entirely sure what that entails.
Showrunner generally means when things are about to go live, he's the guy who tells you at all times where to be, who's up next, prep this segment, prep that segment, make sure the pyro's ready.
Okay. So
Well-
yes, I'm seeing conflicting reports as to the current status of Ranjit Singh, or Dave
Well,
Kapoor, as he's actually named.
He could be both, though.
That's
He
true.
could be the head writer, and because he's the head writer, he's probably by default hired on to make sure the show goes as set up.
That
Okay,
very well
but-
could be.
Okay, but what is the current situation of one Sonny Ono then? As long as we're talking about him, what the hell is he doing these days?
Look it up, Point.
Well, while someone's looking that up, shall we move on to our next talking point?
If we have to.
Because, first of all, do any of you guys own a selfie stick yet?
Nope.
No.
Are any of you planning on owning one?
No.
No.
Are any of you infuriated so thoroughly by selfie sticks that you abandon whatever you're doing to attack people that are holding them nearby?
No.
No.
Well, apparently Dolph Ziggler is. Because
Dolph
when...
Ziggler hates selfie sticks.
Yeah, he really hates them so much that as soon as Tyler Breeze brings it to within like 50 yards of the ring, he's out there. He's trying to get him. So what does Dolph exactly have against these wonderful devices?
You know, here's what I don't get, to be honest, is why does Dolph give a shit? Like, and not just the selfie stick, but the whole Tyler Breeze and Summer Rae. Just why can't Dolph just be like, you know what? Whatever is going on with you guys, you do that. I'll be over here, and if your weird relationship can't exist without me, then I'll get like Vince or Stephanie to be like, leave Dolph alone during Raw. Like, there's no feud, right? There's nothing there.
Has Breeze actually done anything? Is he actually physically interjected and put himself into one of these matches physically yet that Dolph has been involved
And here's
in?
the fucked up thing. No! And while he did give him the beauty shot on Raw, it wasn't until after the match was lost and after Dolph hit him first.
And when they came back from a break, when Breeze was on his way down to the ring, and Michael Cole said, well, Tyler Breeze has already made quite an impact on this match because as soon as he got anywhere near the ring, Dolph Ziggler tried to leap out after him and then got caught by his opponent. And Breeze had done nothing.
Yeah, it's like how is that Breeze's fault?
If you can't walk near Dolph Ziggler without him trying to attack you for some reason.
I mean, I guess okay, I wouldn't even say he's distracting him. He's just being there while there's a match on. Maybe he's just a Dolph Ziggler fan. Who fucking knows?
Yeah, and was there even a Dolph Ziggler Summer Rae feud, really? Weren't they kind of like secondary players in the Rusev-Lana situation?
Yep. No, it is a genuine fucking throw your hands up and shrug because
Yeah. Like,
I don't fucking know.
I am so glad that they took Tyler Breeze away from NXT to make this happen.
I told you guys, this is why I don't watch NXT, because I know that it's better than Raw, but I also know I have to watch Raw. So I don't want good things to be taken away from me and ruined I'll just take the shitty version when I get it so that it doesn't seem as bad to me.
That's a depressing state.
Hey, it's
But
more
not-
depressing for you because you saw it when it was being well made. I only watch pure garbage. You're an idiot.
Well, the thing is, you like your meat in the present, we like it in the past, but none of us really want it from the future, though. That's what
Don't try and cram that analogy in again.
I'm going to be using that every week from now
I
on.
enjoy
Floyd doesn't appreciate you cramming your meat anywhere around him.
So,
his future meat.
speaking of things being crammed, so we've got, I'm going to call them the Euro connection, shall we? Because that's the only way that they actually connected them, the commentators. So they were put together as a pair because they're both European, and then they immediately lose. So long-term hopes as a tag team, non-existent, possibly, definitely.
Do we even call them hopes?
I honestly expect that it is a way to turn one of them face for a feud.
Which one?
Probably Barrett, because people are willing to get behind the obnoxious attitude as long as he's not being a hateful prick. Because I mean, look at when he did his 18-month "I've got some bad news" garbage on a fucking scissor lift. People got into it.
That was hilarious, to be fair.
Not for 18 months, it wasn't. But
Part of it was good. Most of it wasn't.
But what I'm saying is, people are willing to get. People like actually saying that. When he says, "I'm afraid I've got," everyone in the arena wants to say some bad news because it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
Sheamus doesn't have a fun thing to even say right now. I fucking want to just. Every time he yells, "Are you not entertained?" I just want to say, "No." And let him be like, "Well, damn it, I'm out of ideas then."
Are you not entertained? Yes, that's exactly what I'm thinking right now.
I am not entertained. Oh, maybe I should rephrase the question. No, you're good. We got it right the first time. But I don't see Sheamus having come back and spent all this time as a giant asshole while Barrett's just been, "Can I please be on television this week?" I'm
He is
pretty
the
sure
king, after all.
he sure is making the best of that.
I mean,
But hey,
losing to
it's
peasants on a
good for the
weekly
Lucha Dragons to win, decisively.
Good for them.
Yeah.
Good for the Lucha Dragons. So, let's move on to our next point now. Who has watched Breaking Ground so far?
Me.
I have not had time to check it out yet, but I believe Mr. Zevon Dudley wants to have a little bit of a chat amongst himself about Breaking Ground.
I mean, 1/5 of the podcast has watched it, so we are uniquely qualified to discuss it.
So go ahead, tell us why we should watch it then. Sell
Well,
it to us.
to be honest, it's showing people. How can I say this? The idea of NXT was to show talents before they made the main roster, and show them and basically build popularity for them before they debut. Breaking Ground is now showing talents before they debut on NXT as talents before they're going to debut on the next roster. They're getting their main audience attached to these people who they may see for the next 20 years based off reality TV. Because in this show, they are not the characters they play on screen. They're the people they are in real life, which makes them more personable to other people.
So it is a reality prequel to the fictional prequel
Yeah.
to the fictional debut of these wrestlers.
Yes, but it's showing to the fans what these people are going through on a daily basis to put this product out that they so enjoy.
So it's tough enough.
But it's It's tough enough, but everybody won.
All right, fair enough.
Like
Well,
everybody.
considering
Well, I
that,
mean-
like, considering how many of the Tough Enough guys got signed,
Yeah,
It's basically tough enough.
The final
Tough enough,
roster
but,
you got
but
signed.
everybody wins rather than just the first person eliminated wins, which is what happened with the last.
Well, I'll say this. Everybody wins where obviously they're under a WWE contract, but there are people like the very first episode actually showed when they released Devin Taylor, which was, 2 months ago?
yeah.
It showed them in their hardships trying to move beyond NXT to the main roster. So it's showing, once you're signed to a contract, what you have to do to actually even appear on TV or have a chance. Which not a lot of people see.
So
I feel like
what?
I feel like if they want to get people to start caring about like everybody, they should use the network for more programs like this. I would almost go ahead and ditch the idea of the modern wrestling gimmick entirely and say, these, backstage reality segments are going to be the people that they are on TV, because that way you care about them a lot more. They're real people. They're not just the one-note cartoon version of them that we see on Raw. And then you have Raw and SmackDown for, the matches themselves and for, basic interactions.
I agree with you at the point where the over-the-top characters, unfortunately, like The Undertaker or Kane or Mordecai, don't work anymore. But the idea of them being behind the scenes and them being performer, being the difference between them at like 2 compared to 10 when they're on screen, the difference that they show even with the character development, what they have to do there, is something interesting enough to watch. You're basically learning what these people have to do and be able to achieve to get on TV.
I worry that it would become another Total Divas, in that instead of just being a reality show about the life of the people who portray your characters on the show, it becomes, hey, this thing happened on the reality show about the real people. Let's make this into a storyline for the show that's not about the real people as well. And then it just becomes this weird mess of continuity that just doesn't make any sense.
And by the way, if people think we're cynical, then our audience, I think, have beaten us here, because Owen Brown, when you mentioned that we're going to be seeing these people that we're going to be watching on TV for the next 20 years, he immediately came up with the thought, the next 20 years losing to John Cena.
Isn't he like
fair,
40?
Yeah. To be fair, he's not wrong.
Although losing to John Cena for 20 years, if you can carry that off, then you're going to have made a lot of money by the time that career's over.
Yeah.
And that, I think, alone should get you into the Hall of Fame.
What happened? He lost to John Cena for 20 years.
I would say, isn't Randy Orton kind of well on his way to that?
He's getting up there. But I mean, Orton's been given title runs too. Just if you could have a guy who's just like, he's the grizzled old guy in the bar drinking alone, and somebody's like, "Who's that old fuck?" You're like, "That man lost to John Cena." Oh, well, big whoop. Anyone can do that. No.
He did it for 20
years.
And that's literally all he did.
Maybe that's the future for Biff Bizzle Biscuit, or whatever his name was.
Bizzle Biscuit.
It was something like that.
Okay, new Urban Dictionary rule, guys. See if you can come up with a definition for Bizzle Biscuit.
And where do you put the Bizzle Biscuit?
If you gotta ask, you don't want to know.
Not the same place you put the haunted trombone, definitely.
Googling that.
I'm pretty sure the Bizzle Biscuit fits snugly on the biff.
Okay, so Googling for Bizzle biscuits.
Unless you've got a blue Jimmy in.
Well, of course, unless you got a blue Jimmy.
Many results for Bizzle, the biscuit-eating bulldog.
What?
Okay.
I love our show.
I think I sense a spin-off series in the making, though.
Point Google's random shit.
Yes. So
Yeah, we call it point and click.
before we move on to our NXT talking points and our commentary lines and crowd chants and so on, I've got one more line from Owen Brown, who says Cena will be 117 years old and still kick out at 2. That might be a little bit of an exaggeration, Owen.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. He'll kick out at 1.
Yeah. So,
How dare
should we go on to our lines of commentary and crowd chants? Does anyone have
I
any?
suppose we can.
Have you got any, Mr. Poit?
Let's see, I did make note of during the. Actually, I'm going to leave mine for the end because it segs right into our first NXT talking point.
Okay. I've got one. I forget the exact topic that they were having, but it was. I think they were talking about Miz's Infinity Scarf, and Byron Saxon mentions like, "Well, I mean, I'd wear one," and then immediately Cole's just like, "No one likes you." Jesus, dude!
Be a star.
There was also a moment right then where JBL said something about how nice it was or how cool it was, and when Byron said, "Would you wear one?" his response was, "No, I'd wear a cowboy hat." I thought to myself, around your fucking neck? What are you talking about?
I do believe that hat and scarf are different magic item slots on
I don't
pretty
know,
much
actually.
I think it's part of like your D&D character sheet. You only have enough slots for.
If you recall,
Yeah.
JBL did wear a neck brace that was attached to a cowboy hat that was kind of slightly elevated above his head that one time. That looked quite hilarious, actually. So, I've got a couple.
JBL really pissed me off just during the first match. They did that little bit where Owens was talking about how great he is and how much he doesn't give a shit about anyone else. And Byron said, I've never seen anyone who enjoys riling people up like Kevin Owens. JBL's response was, he's the champ, it works. I was like, what? Those thoughts don't combine.
So you were a champ, so whatever you do is automatically successful.
Yeah. And then when JBL says, talking about his trash talk, he says, it's like a guy who celebrates in the end zone in the NFL. You don't like it, stop it. And I'm like, yeah, they have rules for that.
I have to say, that is a penalty.
Then JBL, I swear to God, this is all in like 30 seconds. He said, it's not trash talking if you back it up. And I'm like, yes, it is.
It's still trash talking.
It
It's just
doesn't matter
trash
what you
talking
do.
Said second consequence.
Yeah, you might get kicked in the nuts for it. You know, but if you're like, I'm better than you because you sucked a lot of dicks, then that's trash talk. Or in Point's case, you know, if you're like, hey, Point, you don't suck dick.
Hey!
And then
Come
Point's
on,
like, I do
man.
so, and you're like, nuh-uh, Point.
Okay.
Anyways,
On that note, so the one I'm pretty
Why
sure
is
everyone...
Why is it that Point is the only one whose romantic and sexual escapades we go after on this show?
First of all,
I
there's
think
nothing
he's the only one
romantic
that talks
sucking a
about
dick.
them.
I can tell you that right now.
I'm sorry.
I've never-
Alpha is the one who talks about them.
I've
Yeah.
never in my life, and maybe you guys can agree, I've never in my life had a dick in my mouth and thought, well, this is romantic. That just never happened. Okay? Never happened to me.
Anything from the audience on that? I mean, I know we've only got
Owen
Owen
Brown.
Brown in there.
Thoughts?
Thoughts, Owen?
Besides, if I was like, hey,
We just lost a
Wehrman,
viewer when you said
don't
that.
suck dick, then you'd be like, I know, thank you for being aware. It wouldn't work.
Afterlife, just because you haven't yet found love.
Well, I mean, he did find one in a Sheet's bathroom that one time.
I wouldn't call that love.
That wasn't love. That was.
Is this love?
That was
That
magic.
I'm feeling.
Two different things.
So.
But he did
moving
find
on.
it in a hopeless place, so...
Is that
no.
where Batista walks alone?
That would be a Sheet's bathroom.
The pit of danger. So, of course, Triple H had an interesting line that most of us picked up on at the start of Raw when he said, "I get it, we're at altitude, but hi, how are you people?" Surely he can't have meant to have said that, unless it was some kind of... Well,
There's no way that was intentional. Because if it was intentional, it's dumb. It doesn't work as a joke. But first of all, the first part of it was, I know we're at altitude. And I'm like, yes. Every place that exists is at altitude, Paul. That's how height works. That's just what that means. But the way he said, "But hi, how are you?" It's just like, did we just come in for dinner?
I assume he was supposed to say, "How high are you?"
Exactly.
And boy, are my arms tired.
and here's a great line of commentary that I took note of from Michael Cole.
That's no altitude, that's my wife.
I think this one will be greatly appreciated. Afterlife, you're going to like this one. So Cole said, "Owens and Seth Rollins going to double team Roman Reigns." And I thought, well, is he talking about the match, or is that some kind of network special that they're trying to boost the ratings for by mentioning it during the show? But no, he was talking about the match, apparently.
The only other thing that I took note of JBL sounding like an idiot was when Barrett came down to the ring. And it might have just been this episode, but I want you guys to listen for this from here on. I know that JBL intends to say, "All hail King Barrett." But JBL talks like a drunken Texan, and he started, to me, to sound disappointed that Wade Barrett has arrived.
Oh,
Because
hell.
it sounds like, "Oh, hail Wade Barrett." Every time. It just sounds like, "God damn it, this is going to suck for 5 minutes." It just so bummed out that Barrett has shown up.
I can see that. So, Mr. Poit, would you like to guide us through our NXT discussion this week?
Yes. First, I'd like to make note of a crowd chant during what I felt was the best match of NXT this week. It was the crowd chanting, "Gable, Jordan, Gable, Jordan."
It's nice that they're bringing Jordan into it now. It's not just
Yes,
all about Gable.
Because that match with Jordan Gable versus Tommaso and Ciampa was just fucking amazing.
I mean, Gargano and Ciampa.
What did I say?
Tommaso and Ciampa.
Yeah, I just cut him in half.
Just one of them.
Sounds like you
Yeah.
guys are describing, like, really fancy Italian food.
Okay, so would you guys agree that every guy in this match just looked great at various points in the match?
Yeah, like, I love that they just decided, just on a whim, like, we've got nothing else going on right now. Let's just have a fucking baller-ass match, basically just for the lulz.
I think
Afterlife, you look pensive.
No, I would. No, look, you don't want to hear what I have to say.
I don't
Well,
think
that's
you're
right,
ready,
because
willing,
you're
and
naked.
Gable. I think that's the problem. And I think the rest of us are.
Yes, we are all willing and Gable.
Okay, that's the third one. You're all like, "Oh, didn't these guys look awesome?" And then fucking Wehrman calls them ballers, and they're like, "Oh, they're so hot." And I'm just waiting,
They actually are really cute together.
just waiting on
You know,
Jabba to make some disgusting
even
remark.
that, like, I get a vibe that they're, like, digging each other. So,
See, I'm not the only one who thinks it.
Yeah,
Which,
especially,
okay, between
especially like that
them,
part where they unloaded on each other. Yeah.
like, between them and between them and Blake and Murphy using Alexa Bliss as their beard, I love that there's like this like undercurrent vibe in the NXT tag team division that like some of them at any point are probably fucking.
Most
I
of them. And I mean, and when the Ascension were there as well.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Some of those poses that they used to do.
But
I'm
unrelated.
really amazed that the Ascension's tag team name wasn't just the Leather Bar.
Unrelated.
They look
Uh,
like it.
I was particularly impressed with Jason Jordan a couple of points in this match when there were like standard spots when like Jordan normally like one wrestler would like crouch down and someone else would jump over him. Instead, Jordan just stood up and just full on just let someone hit him, and he just grabbed them like no give, just stopped them and slammed them to the mat.
They are a pair of impressive athletes, that Jordan and Gable.
Oh
He
yes.
said.
Yep.
So, Mr. Jabba, your next talking point here was something about the evolution.
Yes, I believe Mr. Wehrman wanted to discuss his renewal of faith in the evolution.
I wouldn't call it a renewal of faith. It was just more of a reminder of like, oh yeah, she's actually really good. Because like she hasn't really been showcased as anything but a jobber for the last couple of months. And then,
A
well,
sidekick
okay,
at best.
yeah, like since coming back to NXT, she's just been Dana Brooke's sidekick. But like she had a solo match this week, and it was quite good, and she won pretty emphatically. So it was nice to see. I mean, I'm pretty sure they're just building up to get fed to Asuka, but it was still nice to remember, like, oh yeah, she was at one point like one of the stars of the women's division.
Until she met Santino.
Oh god.
No.
Yeah.
It wasn't Santino that killed her. She was on TV every week with Santino. What killed her was a very confusing shoplifting situation.
That didn't help matters.
That was when they decided to fire her for 6 hours and then bring her back.
If anything, all that did was airlift her out of the quicksand and place her in a pit.
Hey, but look what happened though. If that situation hadn't happened and she had stayed on TV with Santino, Santino could have retired and she could have still been in action. In fact, he could be her manager while she was still in the women's division or Divas division. And things could be going well that whole time. But no, she had to steal like a phone or something from Walmart.
Phone
It wasn't
case.
even a phone, it was a phone case, yeah.
Yeah.
The fact that two of us remember that completely trivial bit of information.
Right?
Now, I believe the next
And only
woman
one
we're
of them
gonna be
is
talking
gay.
about-
You'll be surprised which one.
The next woman we're talking about, I have a feeling, is someone that we would like to forget rather than remember.
Yes, it was she announced on NXT, Eva Marie will be returning, quote, extremely soon.
Why?
I don't know why you guys don't like her.
Why don't you just die?
Jesus Christ!
Those are harsh words from Point.
God. That takes some setup.
So everything that you've said to Point over the last few years, he can. That's like water off a duck's back. But as soon as you mention the fact that maybe we don't despise Eva Marie, he wishes death on you.
Oh God. Hey, look, if people can unironically cheer for Randy Orton for 10 years, we can totally get behind Eva Marie.
No.
No.
Yeah,
Well-
I'm not buying it. I mean, okay, I don't remember a time where Randy Orton like forgot how to kick out of a suplex.
I remember thinking that I wish he hadn't kicked out
Okay,
of various
hold on.
suplexes over the years.
Time out. Forgot how or forgot that she was supposed to. Because those are two drastically different things.
But see, here's
Because
the
if she's
thing.
laying there
I
and
believe
she knows
she really
she's supposed to
forgot
kick
how.
out. Like she goes, oh my god, it's now. I gotta do this now. What
Yeah,
the fuck
well,
do I do?
that's-
What do
I
I
mean,
do?
Like Zach was saying, I feel like Eva Marie is from that sort of class of divas that never really learned what wrestling was. Like, if you ask her, like, describe your job to me, she would probably describe her outfit and her hair and, like, maybe one of her moves that she does. She would not be able to tell you how a wrestling match is supposed to work.
Her move would also be a hip toss.
She would have been big in the Divas division like 8 years ago. Back when
Like
that kind of
everyone
thing was
was
the
big
norm.
in the division.
So anyway, Nia Jax was on NXT this week. She had a match, and she was no longer in that bright blue ring attire that she had previously. She's now wearing black, which matches all of her vignettes and such. So yay!
I'm glad you said vignettes and not, like, skin color.
Not touching.
Jab,
Blood
can you
touching
single
it.
out Point's face for the recording of this? Because
I think I might be able to.
that was fucking precious.
God damn it.
So you're glad he didn't say skin color. You're so glad, in fact, that you had to say it immediately after.
Yep.
So also, Nia Jax began using some butt-based offense that was, in my opinion, much more believable than anything Naomi's ever done.
Well, I'm sold already, based on that.
Do any of you have any opinions on Nia Jax's ring attire and/or butt?
Not even touching it.
I'm glad she doesn't
Same
look like a
point.
clown anymore.
Wait, can Zevon just confirm whether you're not even touching her ring attire or her butt?
Both. Both, thank you.
I think her butt-based offensive maneuvers, while clearly better than, let's say, Naomi's, I'm not sure if they measure up to Mojo.
They're
That
not on
badass has
ice.
got some hype.
He does. His
I'm
butt stays hype.
I am disappointed that Zevon isn't even going to take a crack at it.
Oh, there's two.
God damn it.
Fuck.
Moving
The
right
cheek.
along. So I'm pretty sure that we can confirm that Colin Cassidy is going to be written off with a leg injury, given the utter destruction of his leg that happened at the hands of the mechanics, or whatever they're called now.
Now, they're not very good mechanics if they destroy things, are they?
Yeah, I think they've completely dropped the mechanics name, and they're now just Dash and Dawson, or
Oh, good.
yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll still get Cass out there on crutches or something for talking and accompanying Enzo for matches or something, or maybe he just won't be on TV for a while.
Can I spoil something?
No.
Oh.
What are you, a WWE writer?
No.
No,
I
that's
said
ruined.
spoil, not
Shit weeks
ruin.
Before they air it.
I don't think you should do that.
Okay. And finally, Java, I believe you have noted here, Samoa Joe beat the developmental out of Tyler Breeze.
Yeah, wouldn't you agree with that?
I'd say he more choked it out of him.
Okay, he choked the developmental out of him. Imagine that if you just someone's giving you the Heimlich maneuver and you immediately are thrust onto the main roster.
I would love to
Wow.
see somebody interviews Tyler Breeze. It's like, welcome to the WWE main roster. What brings you up here from NXT? He's like, the fucking Samoa guy kicked my ass so bad. I had to come here with you losers to recuperate.
Yeah, Tyler Breeze did not go to a better place.
Samoa Joe basically choked the future meat out of him, essentially.
He choked the future out of him by sending him to SmackDown. That's for damn sure.
Did he really send anyone to SmackDown willingly?
I think Johnny
almost-
Curtis went there willingly.
That almost sounds like one of those like really almost deep philosophical. It's like if God loves people, why does he send them to SmackDown?
Yeah.
Can you willingly go somewhere if you've been sent? I don't think so. It's someone else sent you.
Surely, if there isn't a god, then who in their right mind would have created SmackDown?
I think SmackDown is the proof that there is no God.
And on that note,
It's getting a little
Like,
too deep
all right,
there.
who have we not pissed off so far?
International terrorist organizations?
Owen Brown.
I don't know. I think we had a go at Owen Brown because
I could
actually
draw a
his last two
picture of
comments.
Muhammad.
Hassan?
Sure.
No, I don't think we should do that. We don't really have time for that kind of funny business. Owen Brown did say "wow point" in all caps twice, by the way.
You have
So
no
he did.
idea how quickly I can draw Muhammad.
so how about social
Ready, go.
media?
So, I think that sums up all of our talking points. So, Mr. Poit, are you sufficiently comfortable?
Now I am.
And we imagine that you have a little drink with an umbrella in it somewhere off camera. Is that correct?
Something like that.
Something like that. By that you mean no, I assume?
Precisely.
Okay. Then do your thing, Mr. Poit. Weave your magic.
Well, as ever and always, I would like to do a quick shout out to our friends over at the Game Buoy Video Game Podcast, your stop for left of center gaming news and views. We also invite you to give us your thoughts. Suggest talking points of your own and tell us what you thought of the week in wrestling by posting comments on this video, tweeting at us at Tables Ladders, or by replying to our posts on Facebook. We also ask that you follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook and share our posts, rate us, and subscribe on iTunes, and shop on Amazon.com using our affiliate link. All of these links can be found on our Podbean page, tablesladderspodcast.podbean.com.
And with that, there's only one thing left to say, I think, folks. TLP, everybody.
TLP, everybody.
TLP, Blue Jimmy.
Damn it,
TLP,
that was gonna
Muhammad.
be my joke. Oh, is that... Hold on. TLP Muhammad?
Hell yeah.
And be careful not to give anyone the haunted trombone. Even over this spooky period of the year.